Hello, future authors. I want to welcome you to part 2 of this tutorial. Write a book quick, fast, in a hurry, step by step. Now, part 2 includes steps 6 through 10. And I hope you had a chance to watch part 1, which included steps 1 through 5. In this video, you'll need to have access to Word. Another thing, let me add that the information in this video is provided from a class, an online book writing class that I had taken. And the name of the book writing class was Write and Publish Your Nonfiction Book. So the information in this video is not my own, but it's being paraphrased from an online class that I had taken. And if you noticed in every video, if you look at the last slide on the left-hand side at the bottom of the slide, you'll see the citations. So let's get started. Working book title, the mastery objective. By the end of this video, future authors will be able to identify and understand the purpose of their working book title. Now, in the last video, step 5, we discussed how to transform your book's angle into a title. In this video, step 6, we'll look at a working book title. Okay, by now, hopefully you have a book title idea somewhere in your mind. So tell me, will you keep that title? Why or why not? Well, if you think about it, the more you research your topic and the more you write, believe it or not, your ideas will change. Now, this change leads to your working book title. The working book title is the title that your book begins with, but will most likely change as your writing advances. Okay, then what's the purpose of the working book title? The purpose of the working book title is to provide you with a solid image of your book's angle in your mind. In other words, the working book title keeps you on writing track. It kind of guides you and helps to keep you focused on the purpose of you writing your book. And not only does a working book title guide you, but it's also a way to lure in book publishers if you plan to use a traditional publisher. Now, we'll talk more about the different types of publishers in an upcoming video. Now, let's look at example 1 of a working book title and the permanent title. Notice how the permanent title sums up the first book. So, the title of the first book is Super Duper Great Pancakes. And then if you look at the second book, which is the permanent title, the title is summed up rather in just one word, and that's Flapjacks. So the first book starts off with a working book title, and the second book has the permanent title, which is just one word summed up to Flapjacks. So let's take a look at example 2. Let's look at the working book titles for nonfiction titles. Now, these particular titles have 2 parts, and in this case, generally, the first part of the title is catchy and short. This short section of the title also echoes the main theme or purpose of the book. Now, the second part, also known as the subtitle, provides more straightforward detail of what the book is going to be about. Let's look at these examples. Substitute teaching, what they need to know. Dire warning, the devastation impact of global warming. Office space, how to modernize your outdated workplace. Now, do you notice how the first section of the titles are very short and somewhat catchy, while on the other hand, the subtitle or the second part of the title provides a vivid detail of the book's content. Now it's your turn. Use your computer or your Word software application to type up a description of your book. And then once you type up a description of your book, I want you to create a working book title for your book. So you can take about 5 minutes to do this, and you can pause this section. And then once you're finished, you can restart the video from where you stopped. So what you're going to be doing now is you're going to create a short description of your book. And then once you're finished with that short description, then I want you to create a working book title for your book. So how did you do with your book description and your working book title? I'm sure you did well. I'm sure you did a great job. So what I'd like for you to do, you don't have to do it, but if you're interested, you can send what you typed to the email address listed on the slide. So the email address that you see here, you may send what you've completed to this email address. Okay, future authors, in this video, you've learned the purpose of the working book title. So get ready for step 7, building your chapters. Now, let me just ask you a question just before we move into the video. When you start writing your book, most likely you're going to start with chapter 1, and then you're going to start writing chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. So let me ask you a quick question. Is it appropriate, for example, you start with the last chapter? Say, for example, you have 12 chapters. Is it appropriate for you to start with chapter 12, start writing at chapter 12, and then chapter 11 and chapter 10, etc.? Is that an appropriate way to write a book? Well, let's see.